Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Yeah, if you're a CEO or a business owner, entrepreneur, one of the most important things that you can do is effectively connect with the people that are doing the job for you, your staff, your team. We talked about that last time we got together with him, and we're going to continue that conversation because it's so important. If you don't have good connection with your staff and your team, eventually you're going to fail. Hate to say it. You know, when I say fail, financially, just the company in general, you're going to have people that are, shall we say, phoning it in, or what they say, quiet quitting, where they're just showing up, and in their mind, they quit a long time ago. They're just showing up to get a paycheck until they find another job. He is the man behind Coaching for Relevance, and he helps business owners and CEOs and leaders all the time get that done. Randy Swaim is back with us. Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Great. Good to see you again, Steve. Glad to be here, and thank you for the comments, because, yeah, that's very important.
It certainly is. And as we talked last time, and then I thought about it even more, all the job situations that I've been in, and where there was a lack of connection, where the higher ups, if you will, really weren't connecting with the team. It was they thought they were. That's the catch. A lot of them think they're doing it right.
They didn't understand what it would really look like. And so that's very key. And I will tell you, it's a key and fundamental aspect, just to start a little bit about what we left last week. Because for those that may not have seen the show last week, as you know, I shared a couple of experiences where people that came up to me and said they got a lot and learned a lot from me, but not from anything that I talked about or whatever. And they said that just watching how I connected with people just told them everything, kind of thing. And that's a key aspect of it. And one of the things we mentioned last week was how you really connect with your people, as opposed to just coming in and playing the superficial academic manager games that you think, which is unfortunately so common in society and all that kind of stuff. So it is very key. But what I thought we'd do is just take it just a bit deeper and a little bit more application oriented with this as we look at it today. And really what we're talking about here, and I'll throw this out, there was a guest speaker, and I have to plead ignorance. I don't remember the name, but I watched her speak, and she said something very key. And she said, when you come up to challenging moments, you are not stepping forward just because somebody is pulling you forward. You're stepping forward because inside you're kind of ready to step forward and you want to go forward on your own. And if you think about it, when you're talking about particularly leading your team, and it's sort of organizational maneuverability aligned as well, when you're talking about trying to be successful in perhaps an unpredictable VUCA environment, kind of thing, you have to realize, and so often today, and you've seen this, I'm sure too, and I have as well, there's so many managers out there that think their job is to just tell you what to do, and you better do it because I commanded you, and you just go through. You know what? That's not creating success. And there's an aspect where when you truly connect with somebody and they get to a point, and you can see the difference in this, particularly in the military. And I've shared a couple of stories along the way from my military experience of seeing some of the incredible commanders that I served with and worked with. But the idea is, how are you connecting with your people, and how are you leading them in such a way where they look at you and they want to follow you. They want to go where you're going. They want to do that. It's not you pulling them and controlling them and all of that, but within themselves, they are wanting to do that. And that's key leadership. And when you talk about connecting with somebody, as I kind of shared last week for a couple of those things that people said about me with just the way I connected with different people and all that, that is huge. Because you know what? If they feel like, shoot, I guess I'm going to get fired if I don't do this, so I guess I better go do this. Guess what? They're not ready for excellent results. But if they get to a point where they want to follow you. They want to support. They want to be a successful part of this team. They want this initiative to work. The big thing on that, when you think about the neuroscience and how the brain works, if you're just going in with rote academic superficial things of, well, I'm supposed to go up here and pat you on the back and go away, you know what? Their brain is shutting down. They're not being honest, and the brain is shutting down. And what that happens is when you come up with the challenges in a new initiative, their processing is not really working out. They may go back to some rote academic thing and then blame it on something if it doesn't work right. And that is unfortunately very common in today's world. But if you connect with the people in such a way that they say, you know what, I want to follow here. I see where this is trying to go. You know what? I want to make this work. I want to be a part. And what happens is their processing is such, and the internal aspect of who they are is coming out and saying, I want us to work. I want us to accomplish this. And they are aware of different factors that come on that may not have been expected. They are aware of what some of the possible adaptations are in what you're trying to accomplish and how you're getting there, because that part of them is involved. And it's not just mentally involved because somebody threatened me or somebody said, this is your job, you better do it, all that kind of stuff, But if you connect with them in such a way that they look at you and they say, oh, you know what? And they look around the team and they go, yeah, I want us to succeed in this. And I want to be a part of this. Now, there's one narcissistic side of that can come into play if you're not aware of it as the leader. If you ever see somebody on your team starting to do this, you got to step in, kind of thing. Because a lot of times it depends on who you have on your team. You may have one person that thinks that I'm the only one that knows anything, and by gosh, as we go forward, I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to kind of throw this out and all this kind of stuff. That can kind of take over, which you want to make sure that doesn't. But generally, I will say most people, if they have that experience within how you connect with them, even before the initiative starts, and they kind of go, yeah, and it's one thing if you're in a military battle or something like that, if the commander just sits there and dictates and says, you got to do this, your level of a success is not quite perhaps what it needs to be. But if you get in there and you say, this is the value of us winning, and you know what? Yeah, let's do this. A lot of times you're open to a greater level of success because people are engaged because they want to be engaged. They want to make this happen. And so there's a lot of aspects like that come into play in challenging environments. There's a lot of aspects that come into play with that, even with the neuroscience, if you understand how the brain works and how it's releasing either dopamine because you're just trying to get rewarded, or norepinephrine where you're trying to just fight or flight type thing, kind of thing. If you're treating your people so that they just got to flight and just go do this, okay, you're not preparing for success, though, and you're not truly leading. Or if you fire them up so that they just want to resist you because they're frustrated with what you're bringing or whatever, all of that, the way the brain sort of works and some awareness in that is key. But if you really truly, like I was talking about last week with what these people said about me, and the fact that they actually came up to me unrequested and said what they did was pretty amazing to me. But if you think about it, if you're truly connecting with your people at a level like that, and not just kind of threatening and dictating and trying to play control freak games, because guess what? If they are getting involved because inside here, they want to be a part of the team, they want to do this, they want to make this happen. then they're going to be open to factors that might be a surprise. And you know what? They can process, they can envision, they can choose, they can adapt as they need to and make it happen. But if you're just kind of pointing fingers the way a lot of people do today and just go with that academic picture that we kind of mentioned last week, guess what? You're shutting all that down. And that's a key insight with kind of what we were talking about last week for sure.
Randy, as we're talking here, I remember I had a supervisor, manager, boss, and he would always say this. Yeah. And he would, I don't want to copy him, but he would always say, yeah, I know what you want to do. You want to feel like it's your company. You want to put your stamp on it. You want to put your stamp on it, right?
Yeah.
And it was true. You want to feel like you're
part of it.
You're a part of it. You're vested in it.
Yeah.
He talked that way. He spoke of, the right words, but he did make you feel that way or make you feel that you wanted to. Everybody in this company pretty much always feared this guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting, and I'll let you kind of continue with that for a minute if you want. But one of the thing about that, it's one thing to academically say the right thing. It's a whole other thing to connect with your people so they experience that with you. And that's kind of what you're saying.
How do you make your team feel like they are owners, or they have ownership, or they're vested, or they're putting their signature on what they're doing?
You know what? That could be about a 2-hour talk if you wanted to, but it's
because every company's different too.
Yeah. Well, every company's different, but also if you think about it, every person on your team is just a little bit different. So if all you're doing is it's a good question, but if all you're doing is going to the rote academic thing, this is what somebody taught me, you're not getting it done. And if you, part of it is getting to know your team. And here's a news flash. Let's say that you have 15 people on your team. You don't know, possibly 6 of them are going through struggles that you don't know about. And, it's one thing when somebody says something, or you see something in their nonverbal communication that suggests to you they're being distracted with something. And what most people today will just kind of point their fingers and tell you, hey, you got to do this. But when you connect with them and you begin to learn and they start to trust you and they kind of share with you in a way, like I did with that lady, I kind of shared that last week, where you listen to what she's saying. And what it blew her away when I said, well, you know what, you and I have some of the same lineage, not exactly the same, but very aligned. And I think she was very appreciative of that. And so, getting to know your people, who they really are, perhaps what their struggles are, and how can that all be fit into our team, and understanding as a true leader how you connect with them, you make them believe in you. Because it's one thing if somebody's struggling with something, as you're kind of, it sounds like, and I don't know, but it sounds like the manager that you were talking about sort of did this a little bit. He wanted to fill an academic square, and he goes, it sounds like he was wanting to say something to connect with his people, kind of thing. And yet you do it in a way that the people don't experience that. They don't sense that that's what you're really after. And when you're talking about your communication as a leader, part of it is knowing who your people are, how you really connect with them, and what's the best way to do that. And how are you aware of how you may need to tweak it a little bit with this person or with this situation or whatever. Because you know what, if your people, if they have a sense that they're struggling, there's been one thing in my life where professionally, I approached a training manager, and I said, you know what, I needed to do this better. And I just, the reaction was amazing, because the reaction was, you know what, I think you're right. You're right. And I'll tell you what, we can talk. But everything that he said made you think that, you know what, you can get beyond this. You can become through this. And if your team begins to believe that, That's part of making the synergy happen. And so it's that aspect of how you really truly create synergy in your team that a lot of people don't fully understand. And like I say, people don't jump on board to go in this initiative on their, unless, I mean, they don't do it truthfully until they have a sense inside that they're doing it. If you're having to pull them into this, you're not getting the job done. But if they come up and say, you know what, boss, yeah, let's do this. And I think I shared this on a previous radio show a long time ago, but when I was the manager at Griffiths Air Force Base for our detachment there, and I shared this while some of the pilots were talking about a little kind of an insight sort of vision of something of how we can get to one place as a team. And I'm the manager and I'm standing there. And most managers would jump in and say, well, yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, this, that. But you know what I did is I sat there like this and I just went. And they were going to take some notes. And a guy that knew me very well, because we both flew F4s at about the same time in different units. But he was going over to sit down to take some notes on what they were thought about. And this is what he did. He got halfway seated, but before he fully sat down, he froze because he realized his boss was standing right there. And all he did is he went and he looked over to me, and I was standing there, kind of leaning up against the counter. And all I did is I looked at him and I winked and I nodded my head. And he just smiled and sat down and started making some notes. And, it's one thing to kind of take over and try to push yourself and make everybody just capitulate to your, path back here. But it's a whole other thing where you help them get a sense that, you know what? I want you to be a part of this team. I want you to contribute. I want you to envision. You know what? There's some times where we won't be able to do that. But you know what? I want you to be able to. And it's one thing, like the manager you mentioned, it's one thing to say, I know you want to be part of the company. Yep. But you know what? How are you really making that happen? Or are you getting in the way of it? And this is a big, deeper insight about true leaders versus the academic play actors. And that,
Oh, I love the way you say that.
And it really is because that's kind of what I said last week. When you get a manager that literally comes in and says, well, I'm supposed to show him my care. So you walk up and give a one-arm hug to one, member or something, and that's it. You're play acting. You're just trying to fit a rote academic picture as opposed to truly connecting in them. And here's the news flash on it, which a lot of people probably would be surprised at a little bit. But you know what? Half of that journey takes place long before a big initiative is involved right yet. Getting them to really believe and to see their connection, their synergy. As a leader, as a true leader, you're developing that even when it's just right now for this week is just everyday normal stuff. You build that at a point so that when something comes on scene all of a sudden, they're ready for it. And so it's just something to think about when you're talking about that aspect. And this is a really good picture and insight of true, no kidding leadership, as opposed to somebody who's sort of just trying to play act an academic picture. And yet that's what so much of our society has become, unfortunately, where people are just trying to fit what they think is academic squares. No, it's deeper than that. And it's more than that.
I'm a firm believer in you can spot BS. You can spot somebody who's phony. Your employees, your team, they're picking up on it, whether that you're not genuine. Now, what I'm getting from you, Randy, is that you really have to tailor everything you do to each specific team member, employee. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different skills. Everybody's got different challenges. That said, is there anything that leaders can do that is universal, in terms of actions or words?
You know what? I'll share this with the answer yes, but the true answer to it or what that looks like can be pretty involved. But the bottom line is, as a leader, what is your real emphasis? Is it just that I'm going to tell them and we're going to go get this done, and I need to just make sure we fill the square so I can get a pat on the back from my boss, and all this kind of stuff? If that's your picture, you're not getting it done. But the thing is, when you talk about that, what I would say is true leaders, their focus should be on things like true synergy, true oneness in the team, true radical success. When things come on that were totally unexpected, can my team handle it, even when I'm not there, when I'm homesick or whatever? And you know what? There's times where, when your boss comes in and applauds the team and not you, that's a good thing for you. They're going to mention you, no two ways about it. But it's just amazing. And I think I've shared this story on a previous show many episodes ago, but the old story from my Air Force days of when I had a tooth pain on one flight where we were doing a kind of a battlefield exercise for 1 week, and I had to go up to the dentist, and just very quickly, the dentist said, well, you know what, if you take Novocaine, you're going to be off flying status for 24 hours. And I said, then don't do it. And he went, what? I said, don't give me Novocaine. He said, what? I said, go ahead and do your work. And of course it was like, but you know what? He did it, and I went back and I was able to get back on flying status immediately. We only missed one line out of the entire week, but at the end of the week they came up and applauded me. And this is a little bit of a picture of kind of what you're talking about, the fact that the colonel did this. They came in and applauded the squadron and the team, and then invited the guy that was the commander for that whole week to do it. He was the deputy commander who was filling in. And he walked up on stage, and the first person he mentioned, he applauded the squadron, but then he mentioned me by name for what I did. And he said, you know what? That's chief standards. I am so proud to be leading you guys.
Wow.
And so having that image and that real picture of what you're truly trying to make happen. And the thing on it is, yes, there's things that the manager or the leader needs to be aware of. Yes, there's things they need to do, which is universal across the team. But here's the thing, with the people that are on your team, that's not going to change, but the way you apply it might. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not rote academic. It's knowing who your people are. It's connecting with them in such a way that they go, you know what? Yeah, let's go do this kind of thing. And that's all this aspect of when you're connecting with your people and you're learning what their value is, and you're really having a sense of that. In some cases, maybe what they're struggling with right now. And how do you kind of make them believe that you believe in them, that they can get beyond that? And if they think you believe in them, they may put that aside and make results happen here. And so all of that is sort of part of that. There are things that are universal that a leader has to do. But the thing is that when you have different people on your team, sometimes the way you apply that is not rote academic, but it's aligned with your people and making that truly happen. And that's part of the art form of leadership. It's not just rote academic, it's deeper than that. And if you connect with your people so that inside they want to go there, not because you're dragging them or pulling them, but inside they want to go there with you, miraculous results can happen. And that's just huge. But that's a key difference between kind of what we talked about last week with the real leadership versus that just true academic, superficial application of some squares, kind of thing. And that's what leaders need to do.
Is there value in doing fun things for your staff to show appreciation? By that, I mean, hey, we're going to do, Fun Friday. Everybody, we're going to leave 2 hours early, or we're having lunch catered in. All of those, those things, is it really making that much of a difference that a lot of leaders think that it might be?
I will say this, that in general, yes. But the question that I would ask a particular leader is, okay, how is that really communicating what you're wanting to communicate with your team? Because it may be that you're doing this because this is kind of what you're thinking when your whole team would rather go to the baseball game.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
to your point, I remember
Yeah.
seeing a Facebook post not too long ago, and somebody said, well, it's great. They catered in lunch. That's fantastic. Trays and trays of Italian food. Wonderful.
Yep.
And then the friend posted, I appreciate it, but I would have rather have $25, whatever it is per head. That would have made more of a, even a Visa $25 gift card, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That would have resonated more than having all this food, because I give the leader credit, but at the same time, it's easy to just, go, all right, order it. There it is. Goes up. You're in your office. Maybe you're not even there that day. Hey guys, enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And yet, when you come up with what you're thinking about, how are your people truly going to experience it? Because if they're not experiencing what you're wanting to communicate, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so all of that is part of it. Yeah. I mean, if you get to know your people and you find out this is how they communicate that, then in your mind, you're probably going to have a sense of, oh, okay, this is what we need to do. Or you know what you may do is pull a couple of your people across and say, hey, listen, if I wanted to truly make you guys feel appreciated, and I want to do something coming up. Maybe I want to do this once or twice a year or something. And you have a couple of conversations that kind of, what would make you feel that way? Kind of thing. And sometime along, and you don't have to tell them that you're planning on doing it, but you could, when you're having conversations, you could ask the question, what would make you feel that real synergistic family mindset that makes you want to be a part of this? Kind of thing. And what that can do is that can sort of engender some of those images. And what a lot of people today don't do is they just want to fill the square. They just said, let's do this. And why didn't you guys appreciate it? Well, because I don't like that kind of food or whatever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's where I'm going with that. Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, leaders have to be aware. Like I said, you learn what that could be like once you've identified and learn about who your people really are.
Yeah.
And what truly makes them feel that inside. So it like, you know what, man, I want to be a part of this team. I don't want to go anywhere.
I've got 8 trays of pasta, but our boss didn't realize that half of the team has gluten allergy. Without even asking.
There you go.
Randy, we're out of time here. How do we find you? How does it all begin if somebody is a leader? And I love what you said, the art of leadership. Says it all right there.
It does.
It's not for everybody. B, it's a skill, or not only just a skill, but it's also something that comes from within. You have to have that talent. How do we hone that talent by working with you?
Well, as a coach, I'll kind of help you get a sense of what, kind of how that's fitting in with where you are right now, but also some vision on kind of how you can improve it. But getting a hold of me, as you know, you can go to my website, coachingforrelevance.com. And it's at the bottom of the homepage. It shows my email and my cell phone. You can give me a call or send me an email. As I've shared with you, I don't do sales pitches. So if you call me, we'll just have a conversation. Now, if you have a need or something, we'll come up with something.
Sure.
But just my goal is to reach out and connect with people and just see what we can do. So it's, you won't get a big sales pitch from me. I mean, if you have a need of something, we'll kind of come up with that. So, just building friendships and getting to know people.
Yep. And that's what it's all about, even within your team.
It is.
Randy, always great having you on. I have a dental appointment tomorrow. I will be going for Novocaine if I need to. Just saying.
Yeah, I had a different role for that. That's true.
Always great having you on, and look forward next time we get together.
Look forward to it, Steve. You have a good one.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.